wonderful. We're just happy that the response that we had so much. They had so much good things to say, and so many people called in with stuff that it was a blessing to anybody that was able to witness the show. So we really are happy about that. And today we're going to deal with a topic, and our topic today is going to be all of the questions I thought about. Us as men, but was it sure about things to ask and talk about? We admonish you to call in, and we admonish you to send us a Facebook questionnaire. Let us know what's going on, and we will make sure that we answer your questions right here online. Okay, let's start with the. No, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna Apostle. What's your first question from the things that we want to talk about, that we thought about, that we just never talked about?
There was a few people that have asked some questions. Pardon me. I am having a mental.
Take your time.
I'm having a mental blank.
Take your time.
Right at this moment. Well, let me start off by saying this. As I talk, then things, stuff will happen. Anybody that's close to the age 40, maybe 40 and over, you know what's going on right now. So what, I do want to say this. I have enjoyed all of what has happened in the Metal Toolbox. Hopefully, prayerfully, a lot of things that has been said and has been done within this time period that you have seen our counterparts, our helpmeets, and occasionally it's sprinkled in there a few times, us, has been helpful unto you, and it's helped guide you and push you just a little bit further into some things. I did get some questions as I'm speaking that were asked to be asked, and I don't know. I've been married 20 years. I think from me and from my standpoint, I think I've asked all the questions that is a precedence to me, but there are some questions that were brought up to me late in the evening that was asked to ask from us, and so that we could respond and kind of dive into them. One of those questions, this may be starting off with Ortiz hitting a bomb over the Green Mile in Boston, but one of the questions were, how do you respond, or how do you handle being married to a pastor, but having the need or feel the need to cheat?
Wow, that's big right there. Well, you know where I'm gonna go from the beginning of that is, if that thought even entered in, right there is where we put the brakes on.
Yes.
Because after that, if you found the need, then you've went too far. There's a thing that we call sin. And once it enter into your mind, all you have to do is act upon it, or want to act upon it,
right,
and you are already in that.
Exactly.
And that's a no for us.
Yes.
And but you know what? It should be a no for just people in general. Trust and what's a good word for after church? Trust and our responsibility to a relationship.
Right.
That's real big. And people don't really understand that, especially in marriage, that it was God ordained.
Right.
Number one. But that's a real good question, because right now I know someone is probably looking at us and saying, "My God, it's in my mind, and I'm trying to keep it out of my mind so I don't have to." Work out the things that get me to going where I might entertain the fact of flirting and doing things that I shouldn't be doing.
Right.
So that's very good. That's real good, Apostle. Here goes one of my first. Now I had a list of my own.
Okay.
Because you know how we do when we talk.
Yeah.
As men, we talk pretty much all the time. But I had a question that was given to me, and this question, and I looked at it and I said, no, I understand. I looked at it and the question was, how long should a man and woman in Christ, right, date before marriage?
Those were one of the questions.
Yeah. And let me start off by talking about me, because me and my wife, thank God, we've been married 25 years. Last year we did our second honeymoon. We was gone for 2 weeks. Somebody said I act like I've been there a long time, but I said like that. We was down to old Mexico. Yes. We had a real good time, and I thought about the things that got us to where we were. But I remember our courtship was about 4 months long, and it was pretty much because we were friends. We had people always around us. So we go out to eat, we talk, and we be in situations like this at the dinner table where my wife, she was a real lady. She would fold her legs over, but she'd make sure one of her legs was touching mine. So if you want to call it, what people want to call fornication, that's the closest we got. Right. Yeah. But we had to get married because I don't know about anybody out there watching us right now. There is a moment, and I pray that everybody can remember their moment. There was a moment, Pete, when I knew Octavia was going to be my wife. I just knew it, and then being a man of God and really just coming into myself and my own around 93. I said, wow, I know it was God. Yeah. And so I didn't waste any time. I did everything that men normally do. And that's my story. That's how I handled it. But I always tell women that I've counseled even today, young women, I said, you know what? It's wonderful to have a man after you've done everything that you needed to do, right? Right. And got your job and vacations and this and that. But most women want a man that's assertive. Right. And I exerted all of my authority and telling my wife, I love you and you going to be my wife. Right. But I tell all the women all the time, you got the power. Yeah. We could say and do what we want, but if you're in the arena that we're in and we love the Lord and God said something to you as a man and I know he said something to me, it don't culminate until the woman say, all right. Right. Let's do it. Right. Let's get married. Yeah. I heard from the Lord too. Yeah. But it's a situation. Go ahead.
And not to go backtrack just a little to go forward to answer the question. For me, mine was a little bit different. Okay. Was a lot different. I know my wife is probably looking at me now saying, yes, it was. But for me, well, purposely, let me answer the question. It's dependent upon you as individuals, and what I mean by that is, like you said, you know when that person is the one. You know when you found who God has sent you. Okay. Let me give you a good example. I have an aunt, my great aunt, who's been married a long time. When I was talking to her before I got married, she said, I spoke to my husband. She said she was in service or what have you, and the Lord spoke to her and said that her husband was going to be, my uncle was going to be her husband. And she said, well, God, you have to tell him that. Wow. And some time went by, and he finally got the nerve or whatever to approach her, and she kind of, like you said, she had the power. She kind of, okay, you go and ask God, and she turned him away a few times, and he came. God told me you my wife, and from that point, they moved through the process or what have you. to come together and get married.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, as saints, there's a lot to be said when you leave things open.
Yeah.
When you pray and you ask God, I'm talking about saints. When you pray and you ask God, because that was the question,
yes.
right? Or, well, let's deal with saints and then we'll deal with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But as saints, we talking about saints, marital people that have that mindset to be married, or we should. When you're dealing with that, it shouldn't take you long to hear from God if that person is you. Sometimes, now I do agree with the option to get to know somebody.
Yes.
Because sometimes we can be accused of rushing into things or what have you.
That's true.
And then sometimes you be like, oh, maybe I heard God wrong. But when the sure enough thing, for me, the sure enough thing was I was in prayer. The Lord showed me my wife. Her face came to me. Mm-hmm. Then about a year or two later, I saw her. I met her. She was not with me, and she wasn't even saved at the time. But He showed it to me.
Yes.
Long story short, process of salvation happens, and things of that sort. Things transpire to where God makes it informed so that we're together. I went through my whole no God, whatever, because of certain things. I was just being, religious. But at the end of it, it was time, okay, when I knew it was time for us to get married, there shouldn't be a long pause. Now, I can understand, sometimes people, want to, people want to go through the whole, the process and the ceremonies and things of that sort, or what have you. But I tell people like this, no one has to know. If you want to keep it a surprise or keep it together or what have you, you can. Me and my wife had a small, intimate ceremony.
Okay.
A pastor at the time married us. We had immediate family. My sisters and my brothers, her sisters, her brothers, her close cousin, my grandparents, her mom, of course, our parents or what have you, and we got married. No one knew. Later on, we still had our ceremony or what have you, and we went through the whole process or whatever. One, that was due because we had already spent out the money.
Yeah.
That's number one. And then two, but nobody had to know. So how long you date or how long you court is really up to you. If you find out that this is the person, this is who I pray for, this is who it is, you don't have to go through the whole long, drawn out, a year long, 2 year long thing.
I agree.
Just if this is who you and it's settled within yourself that this is who I want to be with.
That's right.
This is who I'm going to be. This is who I found. Then move on with it, knowing and realizing. Because we come from a different point. I know, Tom, let me say this and wrap it up. But and knowing from us, we come from a different point.
Yeah.
We can talk from men and we can talk from the God man aspect as well.
Yes.
We from the God. So when we're praying, and when I say settled in my spirit, it's settled within me to know that this is who God has sent me. This is who I'm supposed to be with.
Yes.
And I automatically see this person. I see, and I was telling we were ministering to a young man, a young couple, and I come back to him. I said, before I married my wife, I knew exactly who she was. God has showed her to me, and I'm not talking about on the spiritual side, but I'm talking about her imperfections as a person, her insecurities as a person, the things that she was dealing with, just stuff. And I'm not gonna get into that because y'all need to know my wife like that. But those are the things that I had to make the decision. Am I willing to take that and deal with that?
That's right.
And so if I'm willing to take that and deal with that, at that point, then then here comes the work. Here comes the process. So for me, it could be as quick as 3 months or what have you, 6 months, or if you want to take that time, and draw it out to a year or whatever, it's totally up to you. There's no really, for me, I don't believe there's really no right or wrong.
That's
answer,
right. That's right. That's right.
With the exception, if you have somebody, whether it be a pastor or whether it be someone who's more wiser than you. If they say, maybe you may want to wait, then take that advice.
Yes.
If you want to take a little time and kind of get to know them.
That's good.
Within a month,
That's good.
Just take a little bit.
take that wisdom. But I mean, it really can range.
That's right. And you know what? And that's good. That's real good, Pete. Because to each his own is a slogan a lot of people like to have. I know what I had to do. You know what you had to do.
Yep.
And how long should a man and woman in Christ date before marriage? It depends upon you.
Right.
It totally depends upon you. And I would hope that your choices are good choices.
Yes.
Because until death do us part is what the preacher is going to say. And everything before that is all pertaining to God. The marriage is a godly affair.
Right.
So that's why I say it depends upon you. It really and totally depends upon you. And while we talking about this, I want to skip some of the things that I had gotten because of the response that I had gotten from Jamie in Virginia.
Yeah.
It was some stuff I talked to Pastor Cyrus. I talked to Craig Hicks today.
Okay.
And they were talking to me. They said, I know they probably looking now. I said, where Mike and where Charles? Well, we know Charles.
Right.
We know they had some other things going on. Charles
Right.
had a little family thing. And we're praying for you right now, Apostle, because we know that in the end, God's going to get what he's after. It don't make a difference what's going on right now.
Yes.
We're human beings and we feel everything that happens to us in the land of the living. But I'm telling you, God is working it out for your good and your family right now.
Yes.
If you don't, right now. And we thank God for that. Now listen, let me skip from some of the questions that I got. I want to hit this first question that I had.
Okay.
But I'm gonna go down here. This was a question that I personally had, and I wanted you to explore that, Pete.
Okay.
After being married for 5, 10, 15, some people maybe 20, me 25 years, how do you still stay attracted to your spouse?
Well, that's a good question. That is a very good question. And
Now, when I say this, these are some of the questions.
Okay.
These are my questions that I always thought about.
Okay.
But not that I didn't ask, but I didn't have anybody really to talk to about it because it had not happened to me. Because I'm still very much attracted to my wife.
yes.
But that the question was my question, because I get that question from people a lot, young guys, barbershop talk and stuff
Yes.
like that. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't. Here is the thing. You to remain attracted to your spouse. You have to love, which goes back to what I was saying. You have to love them. If the only thing that you love about them is the shape,
Yeah.
to me, if the only thing that you love is the shape, is the how beautiful her face is, or vice versa. He's built, he's going to the gym, or what have you, because things change.
Yes.
You have to. The love has to transcend beyond the. I know it's, and when you say attracted to, because there has to be other things that you're attracted to. What is it about, about her or him that you are attracted to? So to keep yourself, for me, to answer that, how I keep myself attracted, because there was a point where things were kind of rough, and my answer to that would be, I have to look at me.
Yes, first.
I have to look at me.
I like that. Put the onus on
And
you.
be happy with me. What is it about me that I'm not happy with?
Yes.
Because when you're not happy, you're really, and this is the truth about it, you're not going to be happy with anybody else.
Yeah.
No one's going to make you happy.
That's right. And hold. I thought, you know why? And what happens with that? I just got to say this before I forget it. And then you start to roll down a mountainside with that.
Yes.
If you don't catch that quick.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And so that's and that goes as far as attraction to your spouse. To me, whether big, small, I am attracted to my wife. And there has to be. Can I be honest?
Yes, please.
Let's be real.
Please.
You have to make yourself do things.
Yes.
We are flesh.
That's good.
But as the term says, but we are flesh.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is, you have to make yourself, your mind, if you allow it, will go way off in left field, and you'll be out there with the birds chasing a butterfly. While the game is going on, because your attention is distracted because you're not focused.
Yes.
And this is the truth about it. So to anyone that would ask, how do you? I got some questions too as I'm talking, and they're coming back.
Yes.
But as you have talked, and as you as a person, I wonder how long they've been married. 25 years. You've been married 20 years, and you still in love with your wife or whatever. Yes, you still attracted to your wife. Yes, she still floats my boat.
That's right.
As it were. Why? Is because I went through the process of training. I heard a man of God say this that was really, really good. He said this. He said, discipline.
Wow.
Discipline is to love one woman.
One.
That's discipline.
One.
And I know we would, some women would say, well, that's, I want to hear something else. But we talking from the men aspect, right?
That's right.
Because men are visual.
And the men
are drawn away.
Very visual.
And so for us, you first have to tackle your mental, your eye, and pull that in.
Wow, that's so true.
And be disciplined to love.
So true.
And when you and love means to be attracted to. My wife may not wake up every day with. She don't wake up every day with her. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say this. Her eyebrows and her teeth brushed or whatever. We don't wake up as.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, everybody. Beyonce lied to y'all. I woke up like this. This is that you did not.
That's the truth.
You did not wake up like this. And so seeing them in the rough, which kind of goes back to what I said, seeing them in the rough, seeing them in their rough edges, and not just in looks, but I've seen some pretty women, but their attitudes are horrible,
Oh my God.
which makes them unattractive.
Yes.
So I'm attracted to my wife outside. I push past beyond looks and everything, and I love her, and I'm attracted to her.
Yes.
And when you get beyond the looks and the superficial things, because people get mangled or what have you, and stuff happens. But if I love my wife, if I'm attracted to her, then it's that. The outside shell doesn't really matter.
It doesn't. And two things. This is two things. Now, what you said just now, Pete, was real good because I'm in 25 years of marriage.
Yes.
Now, my father, 56 years of marriage. And my dad said to me one time, 56 years is 25. He got me double plus a little bit more.
Yeah.
And so I thought about what he said to me. The question was, after being married 5, 10, 20 years, how do you still stay attractive to your spouse? I would imagine, because we're talking physical attraction and keeping the fire going. My dad's 82, mom's 81, I think 81, 79, something like that. And I talked to my father. My mom has dealing with Alzheimer's, right? And her memory's not really there. I'm over the emotional attachment to that with my mom. But my father takes care of my mother. He retired so he could take care of mom. I'm sorry about that. And so what happens was, I said, Dad, do you think you can handle it? You maybe want to put mom in a nursing home. We're going to come with it. He said, no, she's not going in the nursing home.
Right.
He said, I'm going to take care of your mother. She took care of me. Now I'm talking about friendship. I'm talking about something that passes physical love and everything else. And I said, wow. I said, you can handle that, Dad? He said, yeah. He said, I said, and I'm just looking at him. He said, your mother's my friend.
Right.
And tears came. I'm welled up with tears, right?
Yeah.
He said, she my friend.
Yeah.
And now it's my job to take care of her. Not nobody else. It's my responsibility. Here's the next thing. My wife will be proud of this, and my memory is right where it need to be. Someone sent a comment in. I guess we can call his name Sam.
Okay.
And he talked about being married a long time, and he talked about how him and his wife, loved each other, and they had all the physical attributes together. But he said nowadays his wife isn't shaped like a Coca-Cola bottle anymore. Now she's shaped like a gallon of milk.
Yeah.
Is what he said. He said, I still love her. He said, but the thrill, when I say the thrill, the attraction is gone.
Yeah.
And he said, so and I'm just paraphrasing from what I remember. He said, I went out and I started flirting around. Just flirting. And he talked about a tender young thing. Took kindly to his flirting. And then he said, she took it the wrong way, and he knew immediately it was wrong. Now, right there, should have been a stop, but he said no. She gave me a special kiss. And so he says, so we're friends now. And that's all we could be, is really friends. But she gave me that special kiss. And she said, it doesn't matter that you're married. We can still be friends. And I thought about this for a good minute. And I said, you give me a special kiss now, and we gonna still be friends.
Yeah.
Good God Almighty. I'm gonna stick right with that right there, because if I go back to the first part of the story, I'm somewhere running down the street, because I know for me, I know for me that that's not something that would happen. But this is the thing that happens, and I'm talking to even our viewers. These things have already happened, and a lot of people they find themselves in something that was bigger than them, and they're trying to find the way out. But I would say to them, honesty is the best policy, because if you already in there like that, and you still know you love your wife, but she's not, or your husband, and he or she's not attractive to you anymore, it is your right now, because nobody did anything but you.
Right.
So now it's time for you to man up. It's time for you to get your woman britches on and go own up to what you've done. If you love your wife, if you love your husband, I'm not even going to get into you shouldn't have did it anyway.
Right.
But if you know you've got 25, 30 years invested in that, you telling me one little kiss from one little Roni, as they would say, is going to no, you shouldn't have acted out on what you have acted out on. So now it's time to get this thing right. And I remember her giving that to me, and I said to myself, I'm just talking. Can we talk?
Yes.
Can we get it right?
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm really not. Listen, at this stage of the game, I don't have no game no more.
Right.
I really don't. The only thing I have is God. I don't have no. It's too. Even if I was in the world, it's too much work. Good Lord, for me to try to step out on my wife and be that guy. That guy in the sweatsuit out trolling and looking.
Right.
And trying to be, you know what? You know why it's too much work? Because before I was saved, it wasn't no truth in nothing that I said to him to get me to the spot. And I love that sound.
Oh, we got a call?
All right, caller, go ahead.
Hello, hi. I have a question.
Okay.
Yes. My question is, if you love your wife like you love, actually it's not a question, it's like an answer to what they're talking about.
Okay.
And my name is Prophet Manasseh. They're my brothers that's up here.
Hey, preacher.
You would love your wife as you love Christ.
Yes.
It's not about your looks. It's not about her looks. We make each other.
Right.
You see, so you look beyond all of that. When you first meet your wife, you, as a man of God, you look at the potential, praise God, of a woman that's virtuous, and also a woman that's going to push you into your destiny.
That's right.
Pretty women, some of them, praise God, don't have that potential. Praise God. We talking about godly principles for a wife.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Not for just some woman just floating around. And we all have made mistakes, praise God,
Yes.
such as myself, I could say, And I thank God for the experience, praise God, because I could help some brothers along the way
That's
to
good.
know the difference, amen.
Good. Yeah, that's good.
Amen.
The difference.
Amen. Well, thank you for your comment.
Yeah.
Amen.
And
Say
that's
it again,
good.
brother.
I said thank you for your comment.
Oh, you put it on already?
Yeah, it's live. You'll see in a second.
Yeah.
Okay, God
And
bless.
it was good.
Yeah.
God bless you. Thank
and,
you.
And it is good what he was talking about, which our brother is Manasseh Talbert. It was good that he called in and said that because, man, we can get lost in the sauce, but we are still flesh and blood.
Right.
And it's going to take understanding and work to keep ourselves not only attracted, but loving one another.
I want to say this, even and staying attracted.
Yeah.
There were some things, and as we were talking, these things rolled right up. And thank Prophet Brother Manasseh for calling in. With that, the point that I wanted to bring out is what I thought about is this. There were points and times where my wife, and as much we still are because we're pastors, but we were driving church.
Yes, Lord.
Sunday service, afternoon service, a district fellowship, and convocation. We were driving church. We were driving, and slowly but surely, I've seen my wife kind of morphing into this. For lack of a better term, this missionary. And there's a stigma that you have to look a certain way in order to be saved.
Okay.
And biblically, there is a way that a woman should partake in dress, and even it describes even her hair and things of that way, as become a woman of God. But she started to kind of morph into this thing that wasn't what I was signed up for, and I was not attracted to.
I understand.
But you know what I did? We had a conversation.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, I don't know what this is that's going on with you. I said, I don't like it. I said, what's wrong? What happened to your hair? Cause she was, my wife was fly girl, beauty salons and stuff. She had nails done and everything, had her hair done and everything smelling good. I said, what happened to that woman?
Yeah.
Where is she at?
Yes.
And I didn't go out looking for, when I say I did not go out, I did not go out looking and, flirting around because I knew I was married.
Yeah.
And so, you know what she started doing? And that helped shake her. You don't know what what I'm saying? Your wife could
That's
be going
good.
through a process or something that's
good.
going on and dealing with her. And so to help you remain, how do you stay attractive? You have to be vocal. You have to say, hey, my wife would tell me, Pete, I ain't liking that. You need to back off from the table.
Exactly.
You need to do something because she wants to remain attractive, and it's dutiful. As the word would be, it's dutiful. You have to put that effort in and be vocal. Don't just sit back and you see your spouse turning into something or morphing into something, and you just sitting there letting them. Where's the love?
Happen. The Bible says we are helpers one to another.
Right.
So that's help. I mean, I'm gonna tell a little story about my wife. She used to when I was dating her for the little time, she used to wear this. In the summertime, this blue skirt and blue top, and she looked like Laura Ingalls from Little House on the Prairie. Yeah, I mean, it was this is in the 90s, and I would see her, but I wouldn't see her before I said, and then we got married after time, and I remember when we got married, all things came together, and everybody, when we got packed out, I had, at that time, had a house, full of stuff, and she started unpacking some stuff, and I saw that dress. I said, ain't that dress you used to wear? She said, yeah. I said, I said, let me see it. And she gave it to me, and I started following. She said, "What you gonna do with it?" I said, "You don't need to wear this anymore." It was because I didn't think it made her attractive.
Right.
I thought it was something that just she had it, and it was hand me down, and it didn't do anything for what I was looking at.
Right.
And she was my wife,
Right.
and I want to see her look in a different way.
Right.
Do you? People don't understand. It's not just about attraction. It's about boosting your helpmeet into another place.
Yes.
And confidence-wise,
Yes.
moving them past what they think they need to have on
Right.
or wear, and getting their confidence to another place. And
Right.
we should do that with one another. Most wives, my wives do it to me. You see me today, I got a fresh haircut because I did not want to let nobody touch my hair
Right.
because they was pushing my hairline back. and thank God for my brother and my sister.
Yeah.
They sent me somewhere. I was a little nervous now in the chair, but the man did with it, and I came home, and my wife was jumping with joy. She said, "Oh wow, you look like a young." She said, "That's how you used to look when you was dating me."
Yeah, see.
You see, this is the kind of stuff that
Those-
happened.
yeah, those are one
that,
nights.
that we need. Yes, that's the stuff that we need to be to one another. We ought to be able to hear one another and then go do things.
Right.
In the like the Bible said, in the self same hour.
Right.
And then have some results from it.
Right.
I think that's the best
Exactly.
thing for that. Listen, here's something. Here's a real good one, Pete, that I was looking at, and it is. Where is it? We gonna shift just a little bit. This is one of my questions.
Okay.
Something I always thought about. I might have talked to you about this at one. I made have, but I said let me write this down so we could talk about this. This should get a real ring from our viewers. Why does my wife or girlfriend frown on me looking in her purse or her pocketbook? And I'm gonna add a little bit to it. Why does she get so excitable when I go to grab the keys or when I go
that's a
to
question.
get something for her that might be in her pocketbook, even though she didn't say it was in there? I said, let me look in your purse, and then I'll go get it. And all of a sudden, no, don't give me my purse. Look at my purse. It's something that I always wanted to question, that I always wanted to ask, but never asked.
Yes.
Asked it. And while I'm on it, let me put out some of my thoughts on it. I have never understood it. But why I haven't understood it, my wife, why I'm saying it, and it could be selfishness. Now you might have to help me on this. My wallet could be laying on the bureau with my watch and change and stuff, and my wife can go get that. I need the card, and I'll say, all right, go get my wallet, get it out.
Yeah.
Just you know, like that, because I ain't got
Right.
When you can tell when you are a person that don't I don't want to say have nothing to hide.
Right.
That don't really get into this is mine.
Yes.
And I don't need nobody else in it.
Yes.
But it's different for some women.
Yes.
And without even saying anything about my wife, it's different. You pick up a pocketbook and it's almost, you about to get into a fight,
Right.
Or you getting ready to get assassinated,
Yeah.
or something else, because they don't want you with their purse.
I think, well, my wife will say, what she says to me is, I don't do it only because I'm not looking. She'll say, okay, can you have me look at shit now? I guess when she really wants something,
Yeah.
look at my purse and look behind. I said, I'll pick it up. I said, here. You could just look. No, I'm not looking in your purse.
Yes.
You know why I'm not finna look in your purse? Because you gonna say I messed up the contents of your purse. I don't even think that's with it must just be a husband thing with women. It must just be a husband and a wife thing.
And a boyfriend thing.
Where
Won't leave them out.
you just in my purse, get out of my stuff,
Yeah.
and somebody else could go, hey sis, look in my purse, and they go in there, and there don't be no ruckus,
It's true.
and stuff could be mishandled, but it seemed like the horns come out, if I look in there and just,
Yeah.
I was looking for what you was asking me for, but you done messed up my. So it must be.
Now here's
just
the
a
thing,
humble
and the add on what you're talking about, we could be in service or something, and she said, "Could you get my glasses out my purse?" And I'll go and I'll look in. I may have to move something once or twice, and I'll come out with the glasses and the stuff in it. But my mind, I'm not, I'm a pretty intelligent guy.
Oh, is this an answer to our question?
All right, we got somebody calling in.
Okay.
Okay, caller, go right ahead.
Hi, I just want to come back and go along. There was a question that was asked earlier, and the question, I don't think that the men kind of took time out to look into their comments. But there was a young man that asked the question, and he wanted to know, why do women cheat on good men? And that is just the answer that we wanted a comment or the answer we wanted to hear from a man's point of view. Why, if they can go back and look at their comments, why do women cheat on good men?
Okay, yeah, that was by Willie Langford. Thank you very much.
Why do women cheat on good men?
Good man. Yeah.
Okay, well, let me say this.
Thank you.
Or let me say this to the caller. A good man is a good man. But a good man can be an insensitive man. A good man could be a man that's not paying attention to all the A, B's, and C's. A good man could be an unsensitive man.
Very.
And which is one of my questions got coming up. Everything revolves around him, and if it's you, okay, we'll deal with it if we have to deal with it, and if we don't have to deal with it, then we won't. A good man is a good man, but there's a lot of aspects to a good man. You know, a good man is a man that's a praying man. A good man's a man that's alert and understands his surroundings. Not only understands his surroundings, he understands his mates. His helpmates are surrounded, or his girlfriend's surrounded. He's a man that's always working to keep the relationship rolling, keep you happy, keep himself going. And keep everything going fine. If I'm answering your question the way you answered it, it's a sticky situation.
Well, can I say something? And you got to define what is a good man.
Yes,
And that's
And
right.
see, because a good man, like I know that I think a good man is a good provider.
That's right.
But you'll find some woman who say, yeah, he provide for me, but he don't spend no time with
You
me.
don't spend no
Right.
time with me. Yeah.
And so they see a good man as a man that's going to spend time with him
Yes.
that's
versus working all the time.
Exactly, and
So-
thank you for saying that. And see, there's a cliche that what is it? A man works from sun up to sundown, but a woman's work is never done. Something like that.
something like that.
But I can work from sun up to sundown. But listen, I still got work to do when I
Right.
get home. I can't just come and throw my shoes off and be a good man and I'm a provider and then just lay down. And she said, "How was your day?" "Oh, I'm all right. Just give me a few minutes." And you don't pay attention to the one that you live with. See, then that gets into, that's why a lot of women, now I'm trying to say something real good here. That's why lots of women that are married and they have good providers that are good men, but they're not seeing to their needs or stepping outside of their marriage. Because the man may be a good man, a good provider, but he's not a well-rounded man.
exactly.
And a well-rounded man I'm just gonna say, gonna be tired.
Yes.
Because he got to put in, and then he got to come in and put in at home.
Right. And if that's I'm assuming if that's not your due, then because we have our own mindset, as Brother has just said, where we can think that we're a good man. For me, let me talk about me.
Yes.
I thought, I'm going to work, I'm providing from the family. I'm going to work. I'm working hard. I'm pulling in the money, and I'm taking care of the bills. I'm doing whatever. And we got clothes, we got food, etc., etc. That constitutes
Yes.
as good
Yes.
men, as a good man. That's a portion. That is a part of being a good man. The other part of being a good man in marriage or in a relationship is making sure that we are. We ain't just get here.
No.
I'm still learning. In relationship, being with my wife on what it takes to be a good man to her.
Yes.
I'm not trying to be no good man to nobody else because that's not my responsibility.
Yes.
My good man is only to my wife, and so I'm still learning to be a good man to her.
Yeah.
And so, her complaint wasn't that. You take care of the family. You'll go to work, sick and all. You'll get up. You'll go to work. Sometimes she'll say, "Well, why don't you stay home?" No, I gotta go. And I'll get up and I'll push myself and I'll go.
Yes.
But the other things are lacking. And so if the step out happens, if the step out happens, now this is not going into extenuating circumstances because of just stuff that other people are dealing with, but we have to take a look at ourselves and make sure we evaluate ourselves, what we constitute as a good man. And then what we have to do is go to her, the person that you're in a relationship with,
right,
and ask her, what is it that you think, what is a good man to you?
Yes.
And then y'all have that dialogue and that conversation, or as my supervisor at work would say, you talk that thing through. You talk through it. And then y'all come to, then that will help you, both of you, especially if you're not married, come to an agreement to say, perhaps then maybe we're not the people for each other. I'm not a good man for you. Mm-hmm. Or, what I'm saying, or you're not a good woman for me. And after you have had that conversation, then you can determine it. Mm-hmm. But you can't base it upon, and I'm not saying that you are, but just for conversation and the minds that are out there with this same question, you can't base it upon you. Mm-hmm. You have to have that dialogue with your other. Mm-hmm. And say, what is a good man or good woman to you? What's a good woman to you? What's a good man to you?
That's right.
And listen, and can I fulfill that for this person? Am I willing to fulfill that for this person? Because you can't base it upon your own intellect on what you think is a good man, because everybody's not looking for that.
Yes, everything and all of that to the above. And while we on that, that was question number 2, and we could flow right into that. This was, to me, I thought this was, and no question, no call. Everything that comes in, everything is good. Every question, everything. We thank you for giving them. Nothing is crazy. Nothing is stupid. Everything is valid. But here's another question that we can just flow right into. What do you do when your husband... Now, this was given by a young lady.
Okay.
What do you do when your husband is insensitive to your concerns? Now, we were talking about this very thing. Now, now it becomes, what are you going to do that you see that your good man is not sensitive to your concerns? Now, I know concerns are broad, and everything and all of that and above. But what do you do? The young lady said, when you see that your husband is insensitive to your concerns, and the word insensitive is a big word.
Yes,
because that means he knows some of your concerns, and he not passing the buck with it, but he's not really dealing with it, or he pushes it to the side. And said, we'll get to that later. Or he says something like, well, let me talk to you about something. We'll get back to that. And they'll deal with something else. Now, that's a troublesome situation. But it was put on our table.
Yes.
All right? And we're men. Now, I can answer this question to the women that are in our audience right now, and I could do it to the best of my ability. But it depends upon who you are, and I must say what kind of God you serve, and where you want to go with your relationship. If you're invested, like my father would say, and you know that he is the one for you, your best work's gonna be done on your knees. Good Lord. I mean, and if you are like my wife and my brother's wife, your prayers gonna be heard. and God gonna knock on our door. Because I always find myself like this when it comes to insensitivity. Because we do a lot. And sometimes 25 years of marriage, good Lord.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want a little peace and quiet. But then you think about that woman that God gave you. And you said, I need to do something. Or let me go by and touch on her. I don't even care if she don't even want to be touched on. Just do something. And then sometimes it's going to take you doing something that would take her outside of your environment to get across to her that you understand what she's talking about, and you're not being insensitive to her, but you're trying the best you can. I don't know, a lot of us have different hours that we work and stuff like that, but we have to be cognizant, my God, we gotta be cognizant of the fact that women are more complicated than men.
That's a good word, complicated.
And they need more. They just need more.
Yes.
They need more from us than a lot of times than we're willing to give at certain times.
Yeah. Can I? I want to bring
please.
up a different aspect. And I think this may be controversial. This may be very controversial. But I want to answer that question from a different point.
Yes, sir.
Because Kevin, you answered it so well as far as men, making sure we are attentive, making sure we are, paying attention. And I want to hit it from this aspect, and then I'll try from as far as God, the God perspective, because that's who we are. That's it's gonna come out. It's gonna flow through. Okay.
Yes.
And being around people and growing together or what have you, sometimes we see stuff as husbands. To answer your question, we see stuff as husbands. In our mind, we like, you don't need to be right there. You don't. Why is your mind there? And it would seem that we being insensitive.
Yes.
To it, and as you said, we're not going to talk about that or what have. I'm gonna give you a good example. I'm gonna be very candid.
Yes, please.
And transparent. My wife, was it maybe Monday morning? My wife, we woke up or what have you, and she wanted to have a conversation with me about something, and because truthfully, I knew where it was going. I did not. I didn't respond to it because I knew where it was going, and I'm sure if she was here now, she would say, "Yeah, you were being insensitive." And well, she did because she told me later that I was being insensitive to her. But I explained to her that it wasn't, from my point, being insensitive, but it was just a point that you need to come from there, and don't get as women from a man's point of view. Now you asked the question, okay? Now here's some truth. You're insensitive. Us, when you say we being insensitive, is not all the time us being insensitive, but perhaps maybe look at it. Perhaps maybe I'm being too sensitive. And what it is, and consider these points. Maybe you've had this conversation before, and expressions are made, and which kind of lead me into another question. Why is it that women tend to feel that you're always right? So that maybe that's another question. I don't know if we had the time for them to answer that, but perhaps maybe you're not always right in your feelings.
Yes.
Now I'm not giving no excuse because I don't know the whole situation.
Yes.
But so to hit it from aspect, my brother hit it from us as men and getting on the men. But from a male point of view, looking out as certain areas, sometimes it's just us want to bring you from there, and it may not be insensitive. Now we're not talking about he not having a conversation. I mentioned to him what I like and stuff I like to hear and say or whatever. Then that's being insensitive. That just okay. I'm not talking about that. But as he said, we have to pay attention to that. But perhaps he just trying to pull you to another place. Maybe look at it from that aspect and have that conversation.
True. And while I'm looking, because I got one more question before we get prepared to wrap this up, I got a couple of questions that came in. I just want to read off a couple. Ethel made good game. Beautiful. Hey, Laura Angles. Hey, she was talking to my wife. This is the way some ladies were brought up, she says. And then down here, beautiful. She says, a long time ago, and I can understand this, ladies carried their unmentionables in their purse. Now, that could explain a whole lot. You don't want a man going in and seeing all of that. That would explain a lot. My sister's on here, Flo, good game. Hi, Lady Flo. She said, my hubby won't even go in my purse, even if I ask. Tell him. And I know they old school.
Yes.
So they come from the place.
Yes.
Excuse me, from the place where, let me hand it to her, because it's not going to go over good.
I'm not going.
All right. I'm gonna put this last question because we got a few minutes left. I wanted to hit on this, and we got a few minutes to do this. This is one of my questions.
Okay.
What do you do when your wife wants to control your lovemaking? Now, let me be the first one. Now, it's a valid point. It's a valid point because, listen, let me see. Most men, and we might as well say, we rough riders.
Yeah.
We rough riders. And if we don't have the Holy Ghost, if we don't have God, we don't understand that you don't need to spur all the time. Okay? There's a gentleness.
Yes.
Huh? There's a togetherness that makes the lovemaking. And you notice I'm using the word lovemaking. It leaves sex and it becomes lovemaking.
Yes.
When you are gentle and you are personal and you are loving and you know all the right spots to make your helpmeet comfortable. But sometimes, when it's not one of those long, prolonged things, I always go back to when we were first married. My wife, she kind of wanted to control the situation and everything. And now how I learned how to deal with it, time. Time. Okay. All right.
Now, when you say control the situation, do you mean, and my mind is going here. Is it because when you say control, like when you do it, how you do it, or when you do it, or how many times you do it? Is
all of the above?
Okay.
And I'm not trying to throw women under the bus. Hear me, women. But you guys are much smarter than us. And it seems to me sometimes in the past that would be what it is, because and a lot of times you want it to be the way you want it to be because you want to prolong the time. We're very quick, we're very fast sometimes, and sometimes a woman wants to be loved, held, and cuddled.
That's a good point. Perhaps maybe if that is, maybe that's what she's doing. Ooh, that's a whole nother aspect.
And I brought it up because I wanted to kill. I really wanted to kill the voices that's out there that said, I can never do it like I want. You can. You just have to be sensitive.
And I think the other point to that, to help bring that out is, perhaps maybe your wife is teaching you without. Damn, everybody's not as they say, browbeater. Everybody's not that. Here go this word, a contentious woman.
Yes.
That's just beating you down. But perhaps maybe she wants to gently show you how to love her.
Yes.
And when you catch on to that, you know, then it won't be like you're, because
like
you,
that.
you know, 'cause
I like that.
Sometimes we can be stupid.
Yeah, I'm glad that you answered that. We are so happy that we had this opportunity to be with you. This is the marital toolbox. I got stuff in my box. Do you got anything in your box?
Yeah.
We talked about everything that we had in our box, everything that we could throw out there to you. We are so glad to be with you and have been with you for a while. And we thank God for you calling in and talking to us about everything that you wanted to know in your marital toolbox. Until the next time, bye-bye. God bless you.